everybody. Are you ready for Let's Talk Women in Basketball? Hit the theme song music.
It's the women in basketball talk. Let's go. Shot calling, the shots falling. My crossover leaves the ops crawling. The fans are in awe cause my handles are awesome. If you don't think I'm ballin', then hand me the ball then. Her story will make history. Watch the long shot hit the three, guaranteed victory. You might wanna stick with me, headed for the goal. If you roll, set a pick for me. It's the women in basketball talk. Tune in, all facts, no cap. We could talk about stats. It's the women in basketball talk. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Women in Basketball podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Porty. On today's episode, we're going to dig into superstar WNBA players taking a pay cut, NCAA women's basketball upsets, and later we're going to chop it up with Temple University guard Kendall Currence. Did you know that Brittany Griner, Breanna Stewart, Candace Parker, Courtney Vandersloot, and Nneka Ogwumike all signed for less than market value? Sources around the WNBA have reported that these players all took a pay cut to play alongside other WNBA stars and compete for a championship. According to a reliable source, Breanna Stewart, Courtney Vandersloot, Nneka Ogwumike, and Brittany Griner all agreed to make less money than they made in previous years. Here's what Courtney Vandersloot had to say about taking a pay cut.
I think for me, setting the precedent is just taking less is kind of like a sacrifice that you have to make to be on a championship team. I mean, it just is what it is right now, and hopefully it's not always that way. But I think that, like Stewie said, that was not the main factor of us coming here. We want to sacrifice and play on a really good team so that we can compete for a championship. And that's just the way it is. So.
I believe taking a pay cut to compete for a championship is a brilliant idea, and I hope these players reach their end goals. In other news, let's talk about NCAA women's basketball upsets. One of the biggest letdowns was Tennessee defeating LSU 69-67. The Lady Vols came from a 17-point deficit. The Vols took their first lead in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left in the game. The Tigers fought really hard to come back, but the Lady Vols threw them off their game by executing the zone defense. For those who don't know, the Tigers have struggled throughout the season to adjust to opposing teams' zone defense. The Lady Vols did a great job using LSU flaws against them. The Lady Vols were led by Rakita Jackson and Jordan Horston. Jackson had 26 points, 10 rebounds. Horston had 17 points, 10 rebounds. The double-double queen, Angel Reese, led the Tigers in scoring. She had 22 points and 11 rebounds. Alexis Morris was the second leading scorer for the Tigers with 20 points, 5 assists, and 5 steals. Hopefully the Tigers take this loss as a wake-up call and let this loss catapult them into an NCAA tournament run. Another upset that happened during the NCAA women's basketball tournament was the Ohio State Buckeyes defeating Indiana 79-75. Indiana blew a 24-point lead, which led to the Ohio State accomplishing one of the biggest comebacks in Big Ten tournament history. The Buckeyes outscored Indiana 26-12 in the fourth quarter to seal the win. The Buckeyes had 14 steals off of Indiana 18 turnovers. In our next segment, we're going to chop it up with Temple University guard Kendall Currence, so stay tuned.
My name is Kendall Currence, and you're listening to Let's Talk Women in Basketball podcast.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Women in Basketball podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Porty. Our next guest proves that no matter how many adversities you face, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. She's the first player ever from Fairmont Academy to win an athletic scholarship for a Division I college. She won the 2022 Pat Summitt Most Courageous Award, and she's a member of the Temple University women's basketball team. Please welcome Kendall Currence to Let's Talk Women in Basketball podcast. Hi, Kendall. How are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Thanks for asking. So what inspired you to play basketball?
I don't know if it's about like what inspired me, but I always saw my dad, like growing up, he played at a men's league. And then I'd always go watch him. And then I feel like I was just always around basketball. So I had to play.
Yeah. What WNBA player did you admire or mirror your game after?
Um, Definitely like Sue Bird or Diana Taurasi, like one of the greats.
What's the toughest challenge you had to overcome?
My senior year of high school, I had jaw surgery
Oh, wow.
and I had like my mouth kind of wired shut for like 6 weeks. So like I lost a ton of weight and they actually messed up and like I get that because they had to take like all of these measurements before the surgery and they moved it too far forward, like barely a millimeter. And I couldn't really talk for like 6 months. It sounded like really, really funny.
Mhm.
And just to like be in school, have presentations and like have to talk to people was just like a challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably that. And even like obviously like all of this is connected. Like even when I got back to playing basketball, I was just like out of breath. And it wasn't because I wasn't in shape or anything. It was just because of the surgery.
Wow.
Yeah.
I heard that you had a dozen surgery and you also had 3 holes in your heart. How are you able to keep a positive mindset during such a rough time in your life?
Um, I mean, well, the 3 holes in my heart, they closed like very early on, which is good.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, it was kind of just like dealing with the cards I was dealt. Like I knew I was born with this and I had to have all these surgeries to fix it and all of that. So it's just kind of like having the mindset of, yeah, I'm gonna go through this, but then I'm gonna be fine after. So just trying to make sure and remind myself of that. And obviously having a good support system helped with that as well.
Yes. What advice would you give someone who's facing adversity right now?
I would just say, just like keep being true to you and just like it's not going to last forever. Just remind yourself that it's just a little bump in the road and then keep going from there.
Yeah, great advice. What advice would you give young athletes who's looking to also play college basketball?
I'd say one of the most important things I think nowadays is to probably make connections with people in that field. Um, but also try and get it like, well, AAU is still around. So like when I was younger, I played AAU. Try and make as many tournaments as you can,
Mhm.
um, and like get exposure. And even now, you have a better chance because there's TikTok and social media and
Yeah.
all this stuff. I like didn't have TikTok back then, or I'm acting like back then. I'm like I'm so old. Um, but I had like Instagram and stuff, but I wasn't making like highlight tapes or anything like that. So you
Yeah.
had to show up for people to go and see you. So just try and like get your name out there, expose yourself to a bunch of different people, make connections and work hard.
Yes, that's number one. Definitely work hard. It takes hard work to get to where you are today.
Yeah.
You are over talented. You not only play basketball, you play soccer, you did taekwondo at one point in your life. You're also a part of a tribe. Could you talk about the tribe that you're a part of?
Yeah. So on my dad's side, I'm Herringpond Wampanoag. My dad is actually the medicine man of our tribe.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah. And he's like the current chief. Usually there's not really like it's not like how in America there's presidents, like you switch every term. It's kind of like when you get that role, it's for life.
Mhm.
But somebody had stepped down, so he's kind of filling in for that. Um, so yeah, I used to dance a lot in powwows. I haven't really done it in a while because basketball stuff like that. Um, but yeah, just giving back to the community, make regalias. It's like traditional clothing that we wear. Um, but yeah.
Speaking of giving back to the community, I also heard that you're looking forward to starting a free basketball camp for young girls, young girls to pursue their dreams in basketball. What made you decide to start a free camp when everybody else is like overcharging athletes? What made you decide to be generous enough to start a free camp?
When I had originally said that, that was a few months ago, and just because not everyone gets not everyone has money to buy even a basketball or buy all these clothes and all these shoes that everyone has. So I feel like basketball should be free. Like if you're good at it, you should play something that's free. Um, I am having a camp this summer. Still trying to figure out the details and everything. unfortunately is not free because I do not have like the
Yeah.
funds to make it free and the venue and everything like that. I mean, I have my parents and everything helping me with it. I'm not like jacking the price on people,
Yeah.
but right now it won't be free. But obviously, when I get bigger and bigger, like it will definitely be free because I think it's important for boys and girls, especially, to be able to do what they love, even if they can't like afford it and stuff. Because I'm like growing up, I knew a lot of people that like I'd be like, oh, are you going to this camp or are you going to this summer camp or whatever it may be? And they're like, oh no, like I can't afford it. And like that just stinks to have other people that you want to shine as well not be able to do
Yeah.
something.
Yes, definitely. So, Temple University currently have graduate students who are on a strike right now. What's your take on the current strike at Temple University?
Yeah, some of my classes were canceled last week.
Oh, wow.
Due to it. They actually, what I heard is they're asking for, I think it was more money or more pay because they're
Yeah.
working very hard to teach us and all that. And this is messed up. They actually lowered it.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we got to email it about it the other day. So I don't know what their actions are going to be moving forward. I think they should raise it. I think it was they were getting paid like 2,900 or 29,000, and then they were asking for a bump of 32, and then they just dropped it. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, hopefully that changed because they work really hard and they deserve higher pay.
they do.
Yeah. So could you talk about how the season going for you guys so far?
In the beginning it was a little rocky, but we also had like a lot of great competition. Obviously I'm not playing because tore my ACL this year, but yeah, and then we just went on a 3-game winning streak, but unfortunately now we're back on a 3-game losing streak. So it's a little bit up and down, but I get it. Like it's a new team. We're still working on chemistry and everything like that. But next season will definitely be a good one.
Yes. In 2022, you won the Pat Summit Most Courageous Award. What's the most courageous thing you ever done?
The most courageous thing I've ever done. That's a good question. I've never thought about, well, even like when I got the award, I was like, what are you guys talking about? Like, what have I done? So it's like
You've done a
hard to
lot.
it's like hard to think about like all the different things I've gone through and stuff like that. Because I never really was like, oh, I'm like courageous for this and that or the other.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if I can think of just one.
Well, I can definitely think of one for you. I can say that you're an inspiration to those who have faced a tough challenge and to tackle back on going through those stumbling blocks. Like you went through every stumbling blocks, every adversity you faced, you face it with a challenge and you tackled it like it was nothing. No matter what you went through in life, you took it as a grain of salt and you just kept going. You never gave up. So that's what I can say you're most courageous with, just striving to be a better version of yourself and to tackle every obstacles that come your way.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So what's next for Kendall Currence?
What's next? So, like I mentioned before, I'm not playing this season because of my knee, but next season when I'm back, I'll take another year. So I guess this year with my COVID year, and then next year will be my redshirt year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll graduate with my master's too, which I'm very
wow,
fortunate.
that's awesome.
Yeah. And then from there, try and go pro. Hopefully WNBA, but if I don't make it there, probably go overseas and then try again.
Yeah, you definitely gonna make it there. You just keep trying. Yeah,
Thank
you'll get there. You're welcome. What's your major?
So my undergrad is like psychology and like a little bit of bio, and then for grad school it's the STHM program, so it's just sports business, and it's one of the biggest programs for grad school on campus.
Okay, nice. Well, thank you so much, Kendall Currence, for joining Let's Talk Women in Basketball podcast, and I look forward to hearing more from you in the future.
Thank you so much.
That's it for today's episode of Let's Talk Women in Basketball. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, Let's Talk Women in Basketball. Also, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Let's Talk Women in Basketball. Catch you next time.